there's a brand that springs to mind, right? And you talked about exercise equipment. There's a brand called Rogue, okay, Rogue, and Rogue is an American manufacturer of fitness equipment. They're quite popular in strongman and CrossFit kind of areas. And the way that they seem to have got around this, because CrossFit was a worldwide brand, was they set up, I'm guessing, a distribution center in Europe. And so I'm guessing there's some distributor in Europe somewhere which imports a whole, I'm going to imagine, a container load of goods at any one point in time. And then they distribute across Europe. Is that what, say, a US brand wanting to get into Europe should do? Or can actually the US brand ship from the US direct to the consumer now? Has that become a lot easier and maybe a lot more cost effective?
Yeah, let's see. Rogue Fitness is a great example, because Rogue Fitness is your traditional model of expanding into new markets, which is essentially you find a distributor. Either you find a distributor or you set up shop in that region, right? Yeah. You essentially, it's the same setup essentially, because now you're giving up. First of all, it's a huge undertaking, because you have to convince a distributor to carry your brand, to buy inventory, to hold inventory, to have a marketing campaign, right? And you're competing against that distributor's other brands the distributor is representing. Now, to get that, you go to trade shows, and it's just like this really big undertaking, and takes months and years sometimes to establish in a new market. Again, alternative being you go and set it up yourself. You set up a branch, or you set up local offices, and then it's basically all that cost. So what we're seeing, this is very general and obviously may vary, but Rogue Fitness probably spends about 40% of their revenue overseas. Basically, they give up about 40% of their revenue either to their distributor or to inventory costs and to logistics costs and administrative and all of that stuff. So it's at some point you sort of graduate to it, because that's the most, I want to say, efficient place to be, where you have enough business in that region where you can establish yourself, right? But what do you do before that? What do you do if you want to test, or what do you do if you want to service a bunch of smaller countries, smaller markets where you don't want presence, or it's not worth going and spending money and finding distributors, right? So if you're selling smaller items, there are solutions for that, right? You can actually integrate your shopping cart with, FedEx, UPS, DHL. They will automatically calculate shipping. There's a bunch of products out there that calculates duties and taxes. They'll manage them for you. And, I think Shopify recently launched a product where they will actually act as your fiscal representative locally to actually pay duties and taxes on your behalf. Right now, it of course costs a pretty penny to do that, but ultimately there's a solution. Now, again, if you're selling larger items, say exercise equipment, the solution doesn't exist, because UPS or DHL would not carry your exercise equipment because it's just too heavy and too big, right? That you need a freight solution for that. So it hasn't, the way we approach it is basically we're replicating the DHL service or FedEx service, but with freight. So it's commercial freight, delivered with heavy trucks and, dollies, and often multiple people, doing unpacking and assembly even sometimes. And, essentially we're treating the buyer as our customer, right? So that we're able to represent them for local customs in the local countries, handle all of the duties and taxation, so that the brand doesn't get involved in all of that. And what that allows you to do as a brand is, let's say you're getting interest, you're a US brand and you're getting interest in Europe, right? Instead of trying to go and spend, tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to build out the distribution network, you basically just enable shipping to that country, enable duty and tax calculation to that country, and maybe use that budget instead on some ad campaigns in that country or in that region. and that allows you to ship directly to the individual consumers in those countries. To at the very least have coverage, not lose the sale, but also to test the waters and see is your product actually doing well in these regions.